Hi, my name is Susan. I'm from Worldpeacefull, and I'm going to read you some philosophy I've written on leadership. I don't regard leaders as the ones with the most followers. I regard leaders as the ones that create the most leaders. Everyone is a leader in waiting. You either choose it or you follow. But ultimately, whenever you make a decision, that is a form of leadership. So with that, I'm going to read this poem I wrote, which gave me enormous insights into the real leadership. It's called Infinite Possibilities is the New Knowledge of Leadership. Leadership has many colours, but they share the one coat, a technicolor dream coat, where dreamers awaken, as they are visionaries who can see further than self-interest. Some see leaders as leading others into war, rather than securing peace treaties. Myths and legends repeat stories infinitum, larger than life, for he always wins, at the expense of others. The other remains under covers, as the real story is the failure to reveal truth and learn from our shared humanity. Others regard leadership as the bully, the one that inspires great fear, who commands respect rather than earning it, who intimidates, outsmarts, or undermines in webs of subterfuge or overt aggression, seeking to hurt others as competitors rather than heal relationships. As social development implements understanding intelligently, for the power struggle becomes the modus operandi of men, and competition the tussle that many believe catalyses excellence. Yet fear and threats are the sticks that pacify the calls for justice. Silence is a Tower of London that isolates from freedom of speech, imprisoning dissenters or adversaries as a symbol of oppression. As opposition is threatening rather than exciting, a beacon for enlightened change. Leadership shares power fairly, for the real warrior upholds virtue without violence, enshrined within a Bill of Rights, symbolised by the Statue of Liberty, a statute on liberty, life and happiness, standing straight in an ocean of infinite possibilities. Indeed, a Magna Carta inhibiting all kings, reminding the emperor he has no clothes, as truth makes corruption visible. A great charter of liberties, where the cloth is cut with measure, restraining tyrannical rule, as an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Habeas corpus curtails kings conducting kangaroo courts. For unchallenged power corrupts absolutely, and in the words of Edmund Burke, all that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Leadership is not a given. It is not a position that one wins. It is a decision tree of great value, a birthright that sings naturally the one song in harmony. For not all are destined to lead. Many follow vested interests. They follow rules or higher authority, procedures and protocols. For it requires great strength and courage to get up, to speak out, to risk all for the highest good of all. For true leadership was always selfless, as power and ego limit greatness to greed. Leaders hear the call of fairness in integrity. Leaders face fear without avoidance. Leaders embrace critics with illumination. Leaders admit mistakes with human dignity. Leaders look for unity in the middle ground as power sharing. Leaders understand human nature is equal in bounty. Leaders endure against all the odds to find what is even. For leaders, balance truth over falsehood. For leaders, truth is held close to the heart, and communication is authentic with all, for this is the highest respect for self and others. For we are brothers and sisters. Leaders are watched silently. Are they walking the talk? to see if this person internalizes what is spoken as a lived truth, leading from the head or the heart, feeling it or being seen to be. For to follow their example is not an edict, but inspired by respect rather than feared, as this is always a signpost of a true leader. A leader leads by example. He doesn't reside in the ivory tower of limited thinking. She manages by walking around open to possibilities, meeting with the people as equals and friends, encouraging openness, trust, and equal access to all, rather than tools of trade inherent in productivity paradigms. A leader understands community, taking on the responsibility of governance, so that all work together cooperatively for the higher good, for the higher goal, for a vision that inspires brilliance, where shining is not a tall poppy syndrome to be cut down, but inspiring expression in developing great skills and talents, to feel they belong even if they are wrong, singing the one song rather than risk adverse and alone, fearful of challenging ineffective norms. For when conflict is met with resistance rather than shared understanding, this is the sign that leadership is absent from the table of self-inquiry. In truth, we are all leaders and followers, for all are gifted. The greatest leaders liberate the gifts and teach by modelling higher examples from weaknesses we all possess, by educating for values over ambition, educating for inquiry over edicts, educating for resolution over censure, educating for justice over power, educating for equality over status, educating for greatness rather than mediocrity. For we are all here to reach for infinite possibilities, and these are not buzzwords. It is the reality of our true potential. Infinite possibilities open when we create cultures of risk, where mistakes are rewarded with illumination, ruminations of self-reflective learning, when we acknowledge we could be wrong, when we are not seeking to be right, as truth provides future insights, advancing new knowledge, when we see no limit to what we can become. We open to infinite possibilities when we no longer compete but collaborate as peers, integrating higher knowledge rather than protecting intellectual property as a right. For business was never intended in the realm of universities. There was a separation of powers doctrine, preserving intelligentsia for intellectual freedoms, over property rights serving self-interests masquerading as social interest, enacting a new Bill of Rights to serve society over business, ushering in a renewable enlightenment, where we are not blinded by interests, but interested in what blinds us from the higher way. We open to infinite possibilities when there is no longer superiority of tenure. No matter one's education, position, or gender, where tears are met with empathy and support in an open society foundation, where social support is the mainstay of a healthy community, where language is used to inspire rather than critique, and silence is for reflection rather than exclusion. For we encourage greatness when we see it in ourselves. For all are great in truth. There are no failures, only the failure to reach further than self-interest. For it is together that we must work for our common future, in a community of infinite diversity, where we rise above differences, leading ourselves to unity. Values become the navigators of leadership, in the home, in work, in communities worldwide, as each becomes a steward of global citizenship, self-governance, illuminating roles and responsibilities. And this is the beginning of the wisdom of the elders. For we are each other's keepers. We are responsible for our actions. Intentions formulate outcomes. And what we do and say matters in whom we become. For each life sends out a ripple that defines the shape of the future. And what we stand for defines the shape of ourselves. For every person has value no matter their status. As we step out of education where we are taught what to think, to discover learning as empowerment living, where we think and feel about what we are taught, an agora of questions refining who we are, exploring infinite possibilities as a new knowledge applied, assessing whether we harm or heal, as this is the yardstick of success in our humanity, where we advance or hold back higher knowledge, whether we advance or hold back higher knowledge. I want to say that actually more deeply. Our only way to advance is to release this higher knowledge, and that can only be made visible when we no longer block or censure or shut down ideas that differ from what those in leadership believe. And these new ideas that are breaking through this hard surface are there for the highest good of leadership, even though they see it as a challenge to their authority. If we're going to advance civilization, we have to advance democracy, freedom of speech, and be brave enough to allow these challenges to come to our door and to really look at them. I just felt I would explain that because I didn't quite say it correctly, but I wanted to get the point across. So to finish this poem, it goes on to say, whether we advance or hold back higher knowledge, grow or shut down personal development, cooperate or compete, for our answer becomes the sacred seal, the crest of a new enlightenment that is real. As the motif represents the university of your incredible life. And only you decide if you graduate with honour. So something to contemplate. The truest leader will serve. And the truest leader will actually face themselves far more intensely than they will others. Because for them, virtues and values are the mainstay of great leadership. You have to be able to walk the talk. It's not about, manipulating an image through public relations. It's not about being seen to be a business person who is a leader. It is about being a leader and saying what is true for you. To me, true leadership is truth. It's not about marketing at all. And it should inspire others to reconsider their actions, particularly if they're detrimental. A leader should be showing a way. I would probably put Richard Branson in a category of a leader who's definitely seeking to reform the way leaders see themselves and to become more accountable, to devolve power, to share it more readily as one would expect, say, in a democratic type of society where we share power. In the realm of business, what we have is dictatorial lines of power, and so people get used to not having a say. And actually the company or the organisation or the body loses as a whole. It loses the potential of all the leaders that are in there. Having worked in 400 companies myself, I saw people with great potential who were secretaries, clerks. They came in all shapes and sizes, yet management would never see them because they only saw their role, and they were very limited within that role. So until we learn to see people as people, we then can see their talent. Then, as a team, we can work together in a way that really serves humanity, and perhaps business in this context can serve humanity through what it creates. Same with universities. We mustn't shut down the ability to expand infinite possibilities for a better civilization. It's not all about making money. And I think the greatest leaders will not be looking at the money. They'll actually be true to who they are. Thank you for listening, and I'll be speaking with you soon. Thanks. Bye.